right, well, thank you very much for all the questions in the room and online. Definitely an interesting topic here. I did mention for the folks that are online, if we didn't get to your question, do feel free to reach out to the speaker directly. And I will also maybe clean up the Q&A as we go through sessions just to keep them as relevant as possible to the session at hand. But please welcome to the podium, Jackie Honerlaw.
Awesome, thank you guys, and thanks for Griffin for inviting me to present today. I'm here with my colleague Ann Ho. If you have any questions after the session, please feel free to come up to us. I know I'm going to be fairly efficient because we want a little bit of a break next. So during this presentation, I'm going to go over the CIPHER platform and describe how you can use it and apply it in I2B2. There are actually a lot of good questions just now that I think CIPHER can be helpful in addressing for you guys. And then I'll give a live demo at the end of my slides. I stole this image from one of Griffin's papers, but I won't go into describing phenotyping. We've done a lot of that this morning and even yesterday from presentations from Griffin and Tianchi and Jeff. So all that is to say is when I think about a phenotype algorithm, I like to describe it as a recipe that I can apply to EHR data and other linked data sources to define patient conditions. People get very confused, I think, sometimes when we're talking about phenotypes, that they think I mean PHI or patient level data is involved. So when I'm talking about phenotypes in this presentation, again, we're really just talking about the algorithm that you can apply to your data to yield this condition definition. And as we heard, there are a lot of challenges with this. We know that there's institutional differences. We know that there are codes that are accurate in identifying conditions and ones that are not so much. Work like the high throughput methods developed by Tianchi and that Griffin was describing earlier, they can help address some of these issues so that we can be much more efficient and have many phenotypes developed at once. There are cases where it makes more time to spend time developing one phenotype and maybe spend time on validation like we were just describing. But really at the end of the day, this information is all over the place. It's in papers. There are some phenotyping libraries or code sets online, but a lot of this metadata describing the work that's been done in phenotype development in the field is kind of all over the place and it's not always complete. And so that's really where our program comes in. So CIPHER stands for the Centralized Interactive Phenomics Resource. We are a program funded by the US Department of Veterans Affairs. And as you can imagine, the VA does a lot of phenotyping. We're doing it for research, we're doing it for clinical operations. And there is this need at the VA to really centralize these definitions and make them more usable because phenotyping equals time, and time spent phenotyping is less time for your research. So this is really a VA priority. And just to give you a bit of a background of where we're coming from, our program started back in 2017 and was part of the VA Million Veteran Program. So we had this pilot phenotype library in this biobank, the MVP biobank that's embedded in the VA EHR. And we started at a small scale collecting definitions. And then as time went on, we have our collaborators at Harvard we collaborate closely with Tianchi's group, developing phenotypes. We really wanted to expand this further. And unfortunately, the opportunity for expansion came with COVID. There's all this work going on COVID across the VA. And so our phenotype library sort of went VA-wide at that time because there was such need. Fast forward, we've expanded a lot since then because it's been a useful resource for the VA. We actually, in 2023, launched a public site that's accessible to anyone. And I'll show, or maybe we can drop in the chat, our URL so you guys can visit the site as well. So we have an expanding knowledge base. Our phenotype library has over 6,700 definitions covering a range of diseases and domains. And we have a number of collaborators, and that number is growing over time. And we look forward to collaborating with folks in this group. So I wanted to just like at high level, hit the high points of what do we have and how can you use CIPHER before I show the demo. So the heart of our resource is really this database of phenotype definitions. It's searchable and it means that you can find everything in one place. And we're really trying to grow this resource. Really the backbone of this library is our metadata standard. By that we mean having a standard way using both CIPHER developed categories that we develop with experts, standard ontologies, and other fields to really have the same information on each phenotype definition that comes into our library. And having this metadata standard is really useful also because that allows you to compare phenotypes side by side instead of looking like, okay, I found a phenotype in PubMed and then I found this phi code-based definition. How are they different? How are they similar? We'd actually developed a tool so that you can do that right in CIPHER, comparing phenotype definitions to each other. And then we have a standardized way that we collect our metadata. We have a self-service web form for this, but when we work with larger groups, probably working with I2B2, we have a way that we can bulk upload many phenotype definitions at once. And then we've talked a lot about different tools. We talked about Kesser yesterday. So we actually do have tools integrated into our platform as well, Kesser being one of them. And we also have other tools for displaying phenotype data and prevalences. I'll show another one of those to you. But I think the take home here is really that we have these tools that are also connected to the knowledge base so that you can make the most of them. And I'll show that to you during the demo. Let me just skip ahead. We have two publications on our knowledge base, one more about the metadata standard and then about our tools and the site design. And these slides will be available so you can refer to these papers. We have a few features that are coming soon. Again, I want to emphasize here, we do a lot of work to collect feedback from our user community. So we're very interested in folks here. If you use the site, if you have feedback, we'd really like to hear it. The first tool that's coming soon, based a lot on user feedback, is a reporting on implementation. We do capture validation metrics on CIPHER, but we are expanding that so that you can essentially like comment on a phenotype that you used and applied, and you could share implementation metrics. And then the second thing that's coming out soon this summer is our resource catalog, which is actually going to have a list of like the tools and methods such as COMAP that you can navigate to and learn about, because you know this is such information that's like amazing. These high throughput methods, we want to share them more widely, and also share resources that are useful for phenotyping beyond methods like other tools and resources. And as we go on, we're expecting to continue to enhance our site features with user feedback and expand the content in our knowledge base. We're doing a lot of work to integrate information from other phenotype libraries so that we can have this information comparable using our standard, adding more tools and partners as well. So I am going to stop there and I'm going to share my other screen so I can show the demo. All right. Can I get a thumbs up that that is visible? Ah, okay. Oh, I don't know if that will. This should work. Oh, it's just not sharing there. Oh, how fun. I don't know if that's going to work really well. Yeah, actually, I'm going to put this, no. It's screen two, it's an elongated screen, so it's, I would have to move this over.
Can you slide it over onto the screen?
I think so. Let's do this and I will turn around and that will be a little bit interesting, but that will work.
And are you sharing on the Zoom?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe that is fine to see it. This is going to be a little bit interesting. However, we will make it work. So if I'm here on the landing page, I can search our knowledge base using the search bar here. We have filters you can see on the left, so you can search by things like author or the method used, whether or not the phenotype has been published or validated, whether the authors have shared algorithm code. I wanted to give you an example of Alzheimer. It's hard to type when you're backwards. So I can see there are 23 definitions that we have in CIPHER that have the free text Alzheimer in them. Well, that's a lot. That's too many for me to parse through, and I'm interested in a phenotype that I can reuse. So I'm going to show you how we can compare phenotypes together and just give a scroll down and click up here to compare them to each other. And this is our, I guess I'd say, fan favorite feature. We have this ability to compare the phenotypes side by side because we have our metadata standard. I can highlight either the differences or similarities between them and show what differences there are across. Some use ICD-9 codes, some also have 10s. They use different methods. One is rules-based, some are using machine learning. I'm gonna click into this phenotype really quickly to just show you here. This URL above, this is like persistent. We encourage folks to share these within manuscripts so that you can share this as a reference. And there's also the ability to view version history, and you can also compare the versions between each other too. So just giving you a quick walkthrough, we have the metadata here with like searchable pills so that I can search all the neurology-related diseases within CIPHER. I can see what population was used, sort of a high-level phenotype description, what components were used in the algorithm. This group shared their SQL programming code, but we encourage sharing GitHub links, and then also the capture of validation metrics as well. And I think this is really important because this has been coming up in the presentation before mine about you know, how we can capture what's already been done so that this knowledge we all have in our heads on what codes are effective and what ones aren't can be shared more widely. So as I mentioned that we right now have the ability to share multiple validation metrics per phenotype and will enable users to put feedback on any phenotype coming soon this summer. I'm gonna show, this is like a little stranger to do backwards. Here are the linked data visualization tools that are within CIPHER. So as you can see, we do have Kesser integrated, and I'll show you very briefly that you know, in I2B2, I know you can look at the related nodes and conditions. Here we have a version of a Kesser with VA and MGB data. I can look here at, okay. I spelled that right. So I can actually search and show one of the nodes, and I can show network. Sorry, I think it's just not refreshing. Anyway, it'll refresh. But I can also download the data from the plot so that I can see each of the elements that are related to the condition. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to show you one more tool very briefly, and I am at time. So this is our GeoPheno tool, which shows the geospatial prevalence of conditions across the US. And I can look and compare some different states to each other. I have multiple data sources right now that are available in GeoPheno. Right now we're looking at the VA population, and we're looking at diabetes and its prevalence across the US. We're looking at prevalence by year, age, sex, and race as well. And if I was unfamiliar with this phenotype, I'm wondering what this is, I can click here and I can view it in CIPHER. So I can see the definition and I can see the tool that it's linked to. So with that, I'll stop because I'm at time. Sorry for the technical difficulties.
We have maybe a minute for questions if there are any in the room for Jackie. No? Well, why don't we have another round of applause for Jackie for rolling with the punches in the AV issue so deftly. I appreciate that.